Well, staying with that story, and we're joined now by former Ireland striker and RTE analyst Kevin Doyle. Kevin, thanks indeed for joining us on 6-1. I might park for a moment what Donald Trump did and just break it down. In terms of the red card itself, do you think that was a correct decision to issue the red card to Balogun?
No, and I don't think I'm the only one. The majority of people in football would have said he was very harshly sent off. He did come down on the back of the Achilles of the player, but I think it was the wrong decision, but that doesn't mean it was the right decision to correct it either.
I've heard some say, though, that even if it was accidental, the raking of the Achilles should be automatic red card.
Yeah, no, in most instances, every case is different, and just how this happened, how you look at how he came down on it, it was completely accidental. He was in the air challenging for ball, came down on the back of the Achilles. It was, I thought, a poor decision to send him off.
And he was, and it resulted in the one-match ban. And then Donald Trump said that he intervened, and FIFA has since reversed that decision, and he will play in a few hours' time. What do you make of Donald Trump's intervention?
Sure. Listen, he's not surprising, is it? I'm probably claiming credit for it. You can intervene all you want and make all the phone calls you want. Donald Trump or whatever president can ring the president of FIFA, but it's Infantino makes the decision. So listen, we can blame Trump and say he shouldn't do this, that or the other, but Infantino is the president of FIFA and he's the one that decides. And he released a statement this evening and he said it was nothing to do with him. It was a committee that they had set up, and he sometimes agrees with their decisions, sometimes he doesn't, but he never has any say in them, which, you know, I find it very hard to believe.
But people will have seen Donald Trump there speaking to the media, saying that he did call him and he did make that request. I mean, it's a dangerous precedent to set, the idea that politicians can get involved or even give the impression that they're getting involved and that people listen to them. I mean, even your days as a player, you'd be absolutely furious.
When I was playing, Sepp Blatter was the president of FIFA, and we thought he was quite comical at times, but I think Gianni Infantino brings it to a new level. You don't want politics getting involved in football. It seems to happen all the time. It's at a new level now. It's opened up a can of worms because there's other teams now. France, I think this evening, have put in their own appeal to a yellow card. It's not something that's happened in World Cups before. Red cards have never been overturned. Decisions haven't been overturned. They've gone with what the referee has decided. So now we have a situation where, while what they think is the right decision in overturning in the USA red card is again opened up a big, massive can of worms, and is clearly against the fairness of football.
You mentioned Sepp Blatter. I mean, he resigned amid allegations of corruption, and then today we've also seen an intervention from UEFA criticising FIFA. How significant do you think it is that FIFA or that UEFA has spoken up like that?
It all depends what they do. It is significant that UEFA do stand up and say something. But I've heard them come out against FIFA before, but it's easy to come out and be popular and say something, and then what's their actions after that?
I suppose, UEFA, you might argue, they have to be seen to try and protect the Champions League and that sort of thing. I suppose they don't want to set a precedent where politicians around Europe feel that they can intervene.
Yeah, no, again, it's who's in charge of UEFA. You know, Infantino, you can ring him as much as you like. If he decides to ignore your calls or just say, I can't do anything about it, that's fair enough. And I don't think, in fairness to UEFA, listen, UEFA aren't saints either, but they seem to be in a better position in that regard than FIFA.
In terms of the practicalities, I mean, this game now is going ahead. For Belgium, they would have been training on the assumption that this player wasn't going to take part, and now it's all upended. I mean, this will be rather destabilising, you could argue, for Belgium.
No, listen, they'll argue it is, but they'll have seen him play. He's played a number of games. It's not like a surprise inclusion in the squad at the last minute. He's played in the World Cup. They'll have had him watched and they'll see all their clips. I don't think that side of it. Now, listen, if he scores and does something in the game and is the difference between them winning or losing, again, it just adds to the whole drama, and that side of it, you'd see, will they escalate it further? I don't know what more they can do, but at the moment, I don't think it affects their team preparation or how they know how the USA are going to play.
While we have you, what have you made of the World Cup so far?
Really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Lots of talking points, even this itself, you know, it's drama, show business.
Could it overshadow it?
A bit more than we probably wanted, but the football has been class. Been lots to talk about, lots of worries about going to a 48-team World Cup and the quality been diminished, and in the main it hasn't. Like, we obviously spoke a lot about Cape Verde, how brilliant they've been, and people would have expected them to really struggle, and they were very unlucky not to beat Argentina tonight. So I think it's been a fabulous World Cup on the pitch. that side of it you can't argue about. It's been really, really good.
And we'll have more on Pico Lopez's return to Dublin in a while. But for now, good to talk to you. Kevin Doyle, thanks indeed for joining us on 6-1.
Cheers, Tommy.